Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Captain Marvel #1, written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Carmen Canero and inks by Tamara Bonvillain. This is a surprisingly good issue. I'm not going to say it's spectacular, it doesn't hit it out of the park, but it's beautifully drawn and it's got humor. Kelly Thompson does a very good job with the dialogue. Kelly Thompson continues to get better and better with her dialogue. She writes some good humor here in the interaction between the characters, particularly the interactions between Tony Stark and Carol Danvers. I thought there was some good back and forth there, good banter, good discussions between Carol Danvers and her best friend Jessica Drew, who is Spider-Woman. There's also an appearance by James Rhodey, who is her boyfriend or former boyfriend. And there's some drama that goes on there a little bit because he was killed in Civil War II. He recovered. Their relationship hasn't really been explored since James Rhodey's made a full recovery, so it was good to see his appearance in here. And of course, we had the Avengers show up, and we had a lot of stories, sort of fill in the blanks in terms of now that Carol has returned from Maine, where her mother was just recently killed, and it was discovered that her mother was in fact a Kree warrior, and Carol Danvers always had these powers. It wasn't that she just got these powers as originally believed, but she was actually born with the bulk of her powers. And now this is sort of a new beginning for her, and this is just a great issue to start everything off with a bang. The one thing that surprised me here a little bit is the villain in this piece. His name is Nuclear Man. It's kind of a laughable, at first I thought it seemed very forced. He seems like this Nuclear Man, he just suddenly appears out of nowhere in downtown New York wanting to find Carol Danvers because it's almost like he wants to test her mettle on her. It's almost like he's like a cowboy walking into a western town wanting to take out the top gunslinger. This Nuclear Man comes in and he's heard about Carol Danvers and he wants to basically defeat her, and he's basically out of the blue just attacks her, and he really comes across like sort of a male chauvinist, someone who puts down women, and so that seemed a little bit maybe much, but it was funny. It was funny. It was amusing. And of course, he got his comeuppance rather quickly. Carol kicked his butt, so to speak. She did not need the help of the Avengers to defeat the Nuclear Man, although of course they did show up. Now, having said that, the Nuclear Man, after being incapacitated and rendered unconscious by Captain Marvel, he of course awakens and then he attacks, and there's this huge battle scene, and ultimately he ends up escaping, only to be followed by Carol Danvers into what appears to be, through this portal, she wakes up in another realm where it's teased next issue she's going to have an army of 4 other women alongside her trying to, I'm assuming, defeat this Nuclear Man, or exactly wherever he's from. We're not really sure, but he's in some sort of magical realm. The portal closed before the Avengers could follow in after Carol. And this is very much an empowering issue for Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel fans will be well pleased. You can really see her true sense of power here. It's the fact she's clearly, arguably, the most powerful of the Avengers, and that really comes through here. The respect that she's given by Tony Stark, by Captain America, by Thor. You can see it that they want Captain Marvel on the team. They're so glad that she's back as a member of the Avengers. She's given a lot of respect here. And also, it's very interesting how they deal with her popularity. Tony Stark even wants to try to improve her PR campaign. In terms of public relations, apparently Carol Danvers has been in space for so long as a member of Alpha Flight, or as the commander of the Alpha Flight station. She has spent an awful lot of time in space following the events of Civil War II, and apparently a lot of the people in the United States have forgotten about her because she's been in space, and so they want to maybe expose her more to the public. It's interesting that they stopped using, they're still not using this notion that Carol Danvers is the most popular hero in the Marvel universe, like they did with Carol Danvers after she ostensibly killed Iron Man at the end of Civil War II. She was so popular, they kept calling her popular when clearly she could not possibly have been popular. It's still a little awkward for me to see her get along so well with Tony Stark. But again, I think that was dealt with in the life of Captain Marvel, whether we like it or not now, despite the fact that there's no way that Tony Stark would ever be friends with someone that killed him or tried to kill him in Civil War II. Now they're like, it is like they're best friends. In fact, Tony Stark even joked with Carol that, oh, I'm your best friend. And she's... And she says, no, you're not. And he goes, well, I'm your third best. No, you're not. So they have this rapport now. So they've, despite the huge amount of animosity they had toward each other in the past, that seems to have healed over. And Kelly Thompson, I think, does the best job that she can to basically show that they have banter now. They just sort of pass it off as a joke. And they seem to have this good banter with each other back and forth. And I enjoy reading it, and it's fun. This is a fun comic book. Guys, I would give this comic book out of 10. I'd give this a solid 7.5. The art is fantastic. There's some scenes here that are just absolutely gorgeous. There's an opening scene here where she's battling a sea monster. There is another scene where the nuclear man, he wakes up and he does something to the Avengers that it looks like a scene out of the movie. You could just feel how beautifully this is drawn by Carmen Canero. Look at that. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just like one clap and the power of that, of the nuclear man. You can really see it. And the seriousness of Carol Danvers as she chases after him as he tries to escape through the portal into his own lands. And just very well done. This really whet my appetite. This is well done. If there's a fault with the issue, it's that it's overpriced. It shouldn't be $4.99. Of course, that's a fault for most of Marvel nowadays. This is an overpriced comic book. Do I think it's worth it? Probably for an opening issue. Yeah, this is probably worth the price tag of having the extra pages. Because I think for an opening issue for Captain Marvel, I would pay $4.99 for this. If subsequent issues are going to be $4.99, I might drop it because there's too many other comic books out there that they should be $3.99. $4.99 is too much, and I've dropped a lot of Marvel lately because of their price points, and especially when they start jumping into $5.99, $6.99. I suspect I'll be collecting less Marvel this year, but we'll see. I'm just sort of streamlining my comics, and Marvel and DC just seems to be hitting it out of the park more and more. But if this quality keeps up, I gotta give credit to Kelly Thompson. I might just stay on board here. Overall, not a bad issue. 7.5 out of 10. The art, I'd have to give it an 8 out of 10. Great stuff. Guys, tell me what you think of Captain Marvel #1. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, Comic Boom out.